Okay, since you've got the transmitter mounted to the wall, you're ready to begin the programming. So we'll start here with the right arrow. Here's our passwords, or sometimes we just call them pins. For user, it's 2457. For expert, it's 2834. And never mind the spelling here, password. So we're going to go in as user at 2457. Oops. There we go. In. And we're going to begin with quick start. And let's see, they have us going to sensor settings. Usually I start here. Let's see what the difference is. I usually start at quick commissioning. And the wizard guides you through. This looks the same. Okay, so the sensor setting units. Oops. Length units, here's where we're going to change to inches, Fahrenheit, and PSI. And that's generally the only ones I change to begin with. And you got to go down to the end. And then you got to select next. Okay, now comes the pipe characteristics. You can choose from some of the tables that are already built into it. It doesn't show it here, but there's also a carbon steel ASA, which would be the American standard. But it's going to force us to use custom, so we'll use that. And here we go, custom again. And pipe outer diameter or wall thickness. You could either do this or you could do circumference. If you remember when we did the preparation, we took the tape measurement. Here's where you could have just put the circumference in. But either way, let's click right. And unfortunately, this is in millimeters, but we could put in our outside diameter. I guess in this example, it's 219.1 with a 1 millimeter wall thickness. Oh, we're changing it to 5.9. Okay. We're going to select our pipe material. In this case, it's carbon steel. And this is a summary of everything you've done. And then you have to hit the down arrow. And then you come to next. And in this case, we do not have a liner. This would be more typical of ductile iron. And we do not have inlet or outlet conditions. There's an algorithm built into the meter where if you select yes, you can choose what your upstream and downstream conditions look like. But we'll just hit the right arrow here for no. Now comes the sensor selection. Okay, so now they want me to click here, and they want me to take a look at the sensors that came with the equipment. Now, this simulation is going to have us going back 3 or 4 times, but my suggestion is you write all this down once or bring the sensors over to where you're programming. But for right now, we're just going to acknowledge it is high precision. And we're going to select in high precision. Now it wants me to go back and look. And the size is C2H. So I got to acknowledge that. And I have to go down and find C2H. And there it is. Go to the right. And now I got to go back and look at the temperature code. Typically, there's only, for high precisions, there's only T1 and T2. And you can look those up in the manual to see what those are, what that range is. So I have to click here to acknowledge it. And I have to hit the down arrow now. And length of cables. So whatever length that you were supplied when you got the meter, or whatever you ended up cutting them to. And we're going to put in a number here, 6 meters in this example. Okay, now I could hit next. And now we come to medium characteristics. And I guess it just let me pick 20 degrees Celsius water. And here, if you happen to know a different sound speed for your liquid, you can just change it during this step. But now I'm hitting the down arrow. And the actual medium temperature, you could enter it here. And if this was a different type of liquid, generally you might change the viscosity as well, and the density, but we'll just leave it alone here for water. Next, configure measurement path. Okay, let's do that. Okay, you can have up to 4 paths, but I believe in this simulation we only have 1 path. So we hit the right arrow, then we hit the down arrow. That brings us to next, right arrow. So now we're in measurement path 1. And here's where we're going to calculate the spacing. So now typically for a water application on steel, we're doing reflect mounting true traverses. So we're going to select that. And it's calculating the spacing here. So based on everything you've told it up until this point, it knows what the appropriate spacing should be. I guess I'm supposed to click on this first. What does it say here? Oh, okay. So in the next step of the simulator, we're going to need this number for the sensor installation. Okay, got it. So now we can, okay, so that's the end of this step.